tutti ragazzi e bentornati di End of Glory. Dunque, dobbiamo iniziare la seconda parte del gioco. Non so se devo fare continua o un nuovo... Ah, nuovo gioco, ok, seconda parte. Dopo questo finale così scoppiettante, diciamo. Vediamo un po' adesso. Devono andare in Italia.
You're troubled.
Before leaving, I met Catherine Molsberg. She's in shock, as was reasonable to expect. She didn't even see her son, Alice. They ripped him away from her. Took him who knows where.
That's why we're here. I must admit the lead we have is very peculiar, but...
About that, explain where you are dragging me again.
My research led me to a certain Giuseppe Balsamo, who some identify as Count Cagliostro, one of the most famous alchemists of all time, or one of the most notorious crooks, according to others.
To think, I've been dragging this bomb bottle around with me for days. What do we know about this Cagliostro?
Little or nothing. We don't know the date of his birth, we don't know precisely where he was born. Some even doubt he was really Giuseppe Balsamo. The only certain bit of information I found is about his death. Cagliostro spent the last years of his life in San Leo, in the Emilia-Romagna region.
Basically, we're about to land in Italy to track down a man that presumably died 2 centuries ago.
Presumably?
And what about the professor you need to talk to in Rome?
Lamberto Visconti, a cultural anthropologist of international fame specializing in the occult. If there's anyone able to help us reveal the mystery of the mirror found on the Sitla Lique, it's him.
We're about to begin the landing procedure. Please fasten your seatbelt.
Well, that's that, it seems. We've come to the parting of our ways.
Lars, Don't give up. We'll find that baby.
Eric.
What?
Catherine told me before we said goodbye. Find my Eric. And yes, we will find him.
(17 novembre, San Leo). Guarda che paesaggio, ti è.
Wow! I was immediately enveloped by the medieval atmosphere of San Leo.
Ci voglio andare pure io?
Great men once trod those cobblestone roads and admired the sights. Among them was Count Cagliostro.
Allora, dunque, tavola calda, tabacchi, bar, specialità italiane, gelatini buoni. Vediamo il barista.
Tobacconist about Count Cagliostro? He would have thought I was crazy. Besides, I didn't want to risk falling into temptation.
Di fumare? Non ti va? Allora, c'è qualcos'altro che possiamo vedere? La fontana.
The fountain was full of crystal clear water, adorned with fresh flowers. They really knew how to make those kinds of things special in Italy.
Guida turistica.
Excuse me, are you a tour guide?
No, I sell encyclopedias.
My question was rhetorical.
I'm just joking. What do you need? Hello? Anybody home?
Oh, sorry. I was completely taken by your tie.
Thanks. Your scarf's not bad either.
I was wondering if you could give me a bit of information about the place.
I'm sorry. I've been booked for a week by this tourist group. But you know what? Try the library. Gaia should be able to help in one way or another.
That building with the glass door?
Exactly. Take care and enjoy San Leo.
Comitiva.
What a bad assortment of rabble.
Che marmaglia mal assortita. Vabbè, direi andiamo in biblioteca. Ah, vedi Gaia. Che bella bibliotecaria.
Hi.
Good morning.
Are you in charge of this place?
Are you surprised because I'm a woman?
You don't exactly reflect the stereotypical librarian I had in mind.
Youth is an illness from which you soon get well.
Sorry?
I mean, I'm not as young as you may think.
Come on, how old could you be? 30? 35?
I'm 28. Thanks a lot. You're a tourist, right? The American accent is unmistakable.
I was born in Italy, but I've lived in Florida for years. Miami, to be precise.
You don't say. That must be fabulous.
You bet your books. I'm Lazarus Bundy.
I'm Gaia.
Mi interessa avere qualche informazione su San Leo.
I'm interested in getting some information about San Leo.
Of course. We have information brochures for tourists.
It seems like
Provincia del
good stuff.
Turismo.
I'll look into it. And if I were interested in more unusual topics.
You're referring to alchemy, right? I'm afraid I'm not the best person to help you. I prefer to stay grounded, unlike Olive, who does nothing but chase certain ghosts.
Who's Olive?
Oh, just a friend of mine with his head permanently in the clouds.
Vabbè, sta a me bene,
Take care,
Gaia.
Gaia.
28 portati male, però, te lo dico. Allora, opuscolo, dammi
On the first page,
un'occhiata.
there was only an evocative panoramic photo. Wow. Medieval towers, ancient prehistoric monuments, bloody clashes. Good stuff.
Di fondazione romana, il nucleo originale di San Leo sembra risalire al III secolo d.C. L'antico nome Mons Feretriu si riferisce proprio al tempio che i romani edificarono in onore di Giove Feretrio. La cuspide rocciosa sulla quale si erge ha sempre reso San Leo un territorio molto conteso. Bizantini, Franchi, Goti, Longobardi e altri hanno combattuto le pendici di questi rilievi. Ma lo scontro più duro e duraturo è stato sicuramente quello tra la famiglia dei Borgia, grandi Borgia, e quella dei Montefeltro, che ne uscì vittoriosa. Sono grande fan dei Borgia. Cesare Borgia è il mio personaggio storico preferito. San Leo fu capoluogo della contea di Montefeltro e capitale del regno italico sotto Berengario II. Ok. La Pieve, il più antico monumento del posto, originariamente luogo di culto, assunse in età carolingia anche un ruolo amministrativo e civile. Palazzo Mediceo, eretto dalla Repubblica Fiorentina, della quale ammiriamo il simbolo del giro sulla facciata, come sede per il governatore di San Leo. Il palazzo in stile rinascimentale fa da cornice alla piazza principale. Il Duomo, il più alto esempio di architettura medievale nella zona di Montefeltro. Il Duomo conserva i resti di una chiesa più antica, VII secolo, e sorge su un territorio tono sacro fin dall'era preistorica. E niente, ci devo andare a visitare.
That tower seemed impressive. The Fortress of San Leo. The brochure claimed that Count Cagliostro spent his final days there. It might be a good starting point. Luckily, it was just around the corner, a short ride away.
Fortezza di San Leo, inizialmente una rocca militare, il forte venne adibito a carcere nel 1527. Tra i nomi più illustri che vi vennero imprigionati ricordiamo Felice Orsini e il conte di Cagliostro, una delle mete più gettonate dai turisti, si trova a pochi passi dalla piazza principale. Ok. Uomo distinto, che te stai a leggere?
Hey, old sport. How's it going?
Beg your pardon?
Oh, sorry, Father. I didn't see your collar.
Wait, your name's eluding me.
Well, I really don't see how you could.
No, I can do this. I'm sure it starts with an S. Simone,
No.
Samuele, Severio. You're definitely Severio.
I'm Lazarus Bundy, and I just got into town, Father. Yes, well, I was waiting for you to tell me your name.
Didn't I introduce myself? Where is my head today?
Se
I
non
was
siete...
clearly in front of a chronic senile.
I'm Father Carlo.
Se richiedessi informazioni sul conte di
If I
Cagliostro...
ask you for it, the priest looked at me as if my phone started to
Madonna
ring
mia.
during Sunday Mass.
Count Cagliostro was a godless man who was unable to repent of his own sins to his dying breath.
Hey, calm down. I was just curious.
People like that are best forgotten.
È una lettura
Is it an
interessante.
interesting read?
Which one?
I was talking about the book you're holding.
Oh, this. Refreshing, I'd say. It's a historiography of our fortress. Did you know it was right here that Berengar II of Italy barricaded himself in with his sons to escape the fury of Otto the Great? And he continued to resist here until he was arrested and exiled to Bamberg.
Maybe I underestimated the historical importance of San Leo.
Arrivederci, padre.
Goodbye, Father. Is he always so absent-minded?
Today is actually better than usual.
Astonishing.
Pensa un po', come stai altri giorni. C'è altro di utile? Il giornale. Possiamo vedere anche il registro, in verità.
Well, it wasn't comfortably delivered to my home, but at least I could keep up to date even during my stay in San Leo.
Quindi sai leggere italiano? Gazzetta San Leo, quotidiano indipendente. Personalità in visita, e chi è? Personalità di passaggio, uno dei massimi esperti mondiali nel campo delle resine biologiche ed è attualmente in visita a San Leo. È Mattias B., ammirato dall'intera comunità scientifica internazionale per le sue recenti scoperte. Dopo il successo di alcuni ricercatori italiani che hanno riportato alla luce una mosca vissuta 17 milioni di anni fa, Mattias si è rimboccato le maniche e ha seguito il suo fiuto in un viaggio di scoperta intorno al globo. È così che lo scorso anno si è imbattuto in un ritrovamento senza precedenti in una piccola isola in mezzo all'Oceano Indiano, un serpente di circa 15 cm perfettamente conservato nell'ambra risalente addirittura al Medio Cretaceo, circa 100 milioni di anni fa. Ma la paleontologia biologica e le resine fossili non sono l'unica ragione d'essere del nostro illustre ospite, poiché quell'aria da spavaldo ricercatore nasconde un vero appassionato di musica rock. Con le sue fide cuffie in testa e a passo di danza, Mattias intraprenderà un viaggio in giro per il mondo e forse passerà alla storia come il più intrepido scopritore di reliquie fossili di sempre. Visto? Vabbè, è arrivato
The Foreign has
Mattias e
reported a
basta.
disastrous disinfestation in Miami, where the local palm trees seem to be in danger as a result of some red insects. Oh.
Oh, è un po' colpa nostra. Registro.
The logbook where the librarian recorded the borrowed books.
Ok. Bacheca degli annunci. Vediamoci qualche annuncio
Ads of various
interessante.
kinds, missing pets, dental practice, tours of San Leo aboard a helicopter. An
Telefono.
old-style device with rotary composition. Fascinating, but a bit uncomfortable to use. We had a similar one at home. My grandma kept talking to the receiver as if it were a microphone, and we made fun of her. Then what happened to Dad made all the laughter go away.
Quindi è successo qualcosa anche al padre. Allora, chiodo.
Right. That would teach me.
Così mo te prendi il tetano. Registro. Però il chiodo. Abbiamo qualcosa che con il quale possiamo prenderlo? No, non credo. Ricordiamoci c'è un chiodo qua. Ok, ce ne possiamo andare? In teoria sì, perché... Ah, devo usare la Green Dart, giusto. Allora, quindi era Piazza Dante Alighieri, adesso invece Fortezza di San Leo.
Majestic. The fortress towered over the surrounding hills. That was the place where Cagliostro met his demise.
Che bella questa fortezza,
The
bellissima.
fortress of San Leo was huge, and it emanated a centuries-old charm.
Allora, fortezza, qui possiamo entrare, il panorama. Che bello anche il panorama.
The luxuriant nature, the sun high in the sky, all those shades of green. Everything conveyed a deep sense of peace.
Sì, è vero, proprio un paesaggio che trasmette pace. Ah, entriamo nella fortezza.
Damn, work in progress.
I'm afraid so. Unfortunately, we're renovating part of the fortress, and this is the only area open to the public at the moment.
Listen, Luca, I've come so far to visit this place, and
How do you know my name?
it's written on your badge.
Oh, well, anyway, I'm sorry, but even if I let you pass, you won't find much nowadays. You'll have to make do with this room.
I'll take a look around then.
Ok, pannello informativo, vediamo che dice. Impariamo altre
That
cose di
panel was a
San Leo.
reminder of the forced stay of Felice Orsini, the
Felice
man responsible for the
Orsini.
attack perpetrated against Napoleon III of France. The emperor survived, but the 3 bombs thrown at his carriage caused real carnage.
Ok, quest'altro pannello informativo invece che dice? Ser Arcibaldo Terenzio, Ser Cellesio Leodrisio, Vettio Agorio Basilio, Federico Punso, Koblinger Nicolas, Barlomiei Jankowski, Alcestis Barcinonensis, Papias e Buchner F. E quindi
Ancient
Sammy.
medieval coats of arms, adorned by their relative names and chivalric mottos. Ancient medieval...
Ah, ok, diceva così, praticamente al momento nient'altro. Pozzo.
The glass was translucent, and it didn't let me see how deep the well was.
Pannello informativo.
The panel stated that the structure would be closed to the public indefinitely. What followed was very interesting. Some of the artifacts have been temporarily moved to a nearby building.
Castel
Castle
Sancti
Sancti
Leonis.
Excuse me.
Yes?
That sign says some of the artifacts from the fortress were moved to another building.
Yes. Castle Sancte Leonis. The Marquis de Vilta, its owner, has agreed to host some of the finds from the fortress there during its period of renovation.
All right, good to know. Do you know where I could find him?
By now, he will surely be in Dante Alighieri Square. He's a creature of habit and spends half of his days reading the newspaper sitting at Oliviero's bar. You won't have any problems finding him. He's a very little man.
I must thank you. Your contribution will help me save a newborn in danger.
This guy's crazy.
Giusto, sta fuori. Teca?
Ancient vases, elegant daggers, decorated figurines. When this story started, I'd have never imagined I would have ended up walking around museums.
Cotta di maglia.
The chainmail was as tough and scratchy as a grater to the touch. All of a sudden, all the hours spent making meatballs for Chef Tony flooded back to my mind. What nonsense.
Però la porta questa qui non ci si può andare.
It led deep into the fortress. It was a pity that at the moment it was impossible to venture
Beh, sì, è un
beyond.
peccato, volevo visitarla. Luca, che ci dice di
I had
altro?
nothing else to
Luca?
ask him.
Ok, operaio invece guardiamo però sti
I was
cavoli.
always surprised by the nonchalance with which laborers are able to work with such precarious balance on scaffolding like that.
Ok, quindi abbiamo visto un po' tutto, penso di sì, perfetto. Quindi andiamo nella nuova zona. Ah no, dice sta in piazza Dante Alighieri, quindi dovrebbe stare qua. Eccolo.
Good morning. Are you the Marquis de Vilta?
Who are you? And who told you who I am?
My name's Lazarus Bundy. I arrived here a few hours ago. I've just been to the San Leo fortress, but found it closed for renovations. There was a very friendly attendant, though, who told me about you and of the castle, Santo Leonidum?
Sancte Leonis, the castle of St. Leo, which my family renamed as such in honor of the local saint.
Exactly what I just said. Would it be possible to access the building to take a look at the findings?
The castle is private property, and if I agreed to store a few ancient artifacts there, it is only because Walter Baringler, the director I hired to look after the building, insisted. Certainly not to set up a museum for American tourists.
Blech.
Bah.
Listen, I just got here from Florida and
You should have better informed yourself before leaving. I'm very attached to that building, and the very few trusted people I let enter are in possession of a specific permit signed by me.
a permit, huh?
Ha parlato di un lasciapassare.
You spoke of a permit. Do I have any shot at getting one?
You'd have a better chance of speeding past my vintage vehicle on that scrap heap of yours, young man.
Hey, don't insult my green dart. I had met my share of bloated windbags, but this one threatened to explode at any moment. I would get that permit, and I would sign it myself. His home was the most likely place to look for one. I absolutely had to get his address.
Quindi dobbiamo trovare l'indirizzo di sto cafone. Mi parli di
Tell
San
me about San
Leo.
Leo.
What do you take me for, a tour guide? Go bother someone else, for heaven's sake.
È
Trying to
così
drag
impegnato
information out of that
sto.
man felt like a salmon trying to swim upstream.
Vabbè, devo andare.
I'll bear this pain with stoicism.
Hey! Hey, mister!
Aiutaci,
Are
va?
you talking to me?
Of
Baristi
course I'm
fanno le
talking to you.
cose.
Come here a second, please. Look, pal, would you do me a favor? I dropped my pendant, and to get it, I need to go around the building or climb over. Could you maybe...
Why not? Here you are.
very kind. Mr.
Bundy. Lazarus Bundy.
Lazaro? Like in the Holy Bible?
There's a story behind that, actually.
I'm Oliviero, the second best bartender in the world.
Perché secondo?
Welcome to San Leo. What brings you here?
Oh, nothing. I just wanted to disconnect from work and take a long trip through Europe.
I understand, but I've seen you asking a lot of questions around here for a tourist.
Occupational hazard.
Mm-hmm. Why? What's your job?
I decided not to show my cards to a perfect stranger. Operator for a statistical agency.
Exciting, to say the least. Well, Lazaro, if
Mi
you
serve
need
l'indirizzo
anything,
del
just ask.
cafone.
I have everything you might need.
I didn't much like his attitude. He seemed harmless, although wasn't that quite the interrogation he'd just given me?
Beh, se me ti fai anche un po' di pippe mentali. Cosa puoi dirmi di San
What can
Leo?
you tell me about San Leo?
San Leo is a small town. I think close to 3,000 people or so. There's a lot of history here. And we certainly don't lack tourism. And yet...
I bet you dream about the big cities of the world.
Spot on. It's just that I didn't imagine ending up behind a bar counter after my PhD in chemistry. I believe I deserve something more out of life.
Oliviero reminded me of myself in many ways. I left Italy with the same spirit when searching for something that turned out to be just a fleeting moment of glory.
Che vendi di
What do you
preciso?
sell
Che vendi in
exactly?
un bar?
Purely basic necessities. Milk, tobacco, and alcohol.
Tobacco and alcohol are basic necessities?
Pare
Are
di
you
sì.
kidding? Most people would sell their grannies for a carton of cigarettes.
I know
E
what
questo
you
è pure
mean.
vero.
Until recently, I smoked 2 packs a day.
Wow. We're in the presence of one of the select few who managed to quit.
Too late, though. The problem with smoking is that you don't realize how it's hurting you until someone else, generally in a white coat, shoves it in your face.
Ah, ecco come gli è venuto il tumore allora, con le sigarette. Mm. Perché hai detto di essere il secondo miglior barista del
Why did you
mondo?
say you're the second best bartender in the world?
Rumor has it that the best of all lives in Rome. A true legend. It seems he scattered members of his family around the world, destined to become his heirs.
Well, if you're such a good bartender, then maybe you're one of them.
Hey, you're right.
Il secondo migliore. Conosci il Marchese de Vilta?
Do you know the Marquis de Vilta?
Who doesn't know that arrogant ass?
For reasons I'm not going to explain, I need to reach his home, but I don't know the address.
Oh, sorry, but I'd prefer to stay out of it. I don't want to get into trouble with him. He's too influential a person. Besides which, to tell you the truth, I don't exactly know where his mansion is. Out of town, anyway.
I get it.
Passi tutta la giornata masticando quel
You chew that
legnetto?
piece of wood.
A piece of wood? I've heard it all now. This is a licorice root.
You still look like a goat to me.
Hai mai richiesto del lascio passare per Castel Sancto Leonida?
Have you ever requested?
Castle Sancti Leonis. I tried once, yes. I wanted to organize a private tour for me and a companion. That little guy, though, allows entry only to a close circle of friends, and apparently I'm not part of it. But then again, I'm just a bartender.
What happened to the form?
I made a great paper plane out of it that earned me the current record here in San Leo.
Bye bye.
See you later.
Dobbiamo trovare quell'aeroplanino di carta. Borraccia.
I'd stored a piece of the old tire I'd repaired with Wheelo's chewing gum. That felt like years ago.
Pneumatico con chewing gum nella borraccia. Pozza di benzina.
I took a deep whiff of the gasoline. What can I say? Everyone has their weaknesses.
Pure a me piace l'odore della benzina, ti capisco.
It was the Marquis' car, and I must say it reminded me of its owner, small and roundish.
E non possiamo dar fuoco a questa benzina, così non ci giriamo intorno proprio. Diamo fuoco alla macchina di questo e gli diamo faccia entrare.
I didn't want to bother him any longer.
Marchese di Vilta, immagino che non è che parli ancora molto con noi.
Nothing else to
Ah, infatti. Vediamo un po' se la bibliotecaria sa qualcosa.
Bye.
Cosa sai dirmi del Marchese di
Well, what
Vilta?
can you tell me about the Marquis de Vilta?
Why the interest?
We just had a little spat, and I'd like to know who I'm dealing with.
I admit he's not the most sociable person in the neighborhood, but at least he actively participates in municipal life. He's given numerous grants to the library, among other things, and he's a fervent reader.
I must have genuinely misjudged him. Now I feel guilty. Do you know his address? I'd like to deliver him a gift to make up for it.
The Marquis is registered here, but we don't require an address for membership. We just ask for phone numbers in case someone forgets to return a borrowed book.
That could be a good start.
I'm sorry, but our privacy policy forbids me from providing personal details to strangers, if you're thinking of asking me for it.
Come on. Who's ever going to know?
I don't mean to intrude on your discussion, but I couldn't help but overhear. Clara is bound to respect her duties, especially the obligation of confidentiality.
Gaia, not Clara. And don't worry, I had no intention of ignoring my responsibilities.
This is a full-scale coalition against me.
Comunque, cioè, prete, pensa a leggere, fatti affari tua. Ho un'insana voglia di leggere.
I have an insane desire to read.
To borrow a book, you need a card, which, unfortunately, I can only issue to residents.
But I really have a great desire to read.
You're strange, Lazarus. You make me laugh. Try to swing by City Hall. Maybe they could issue you a tourist permit.
I doubted it. Plus, I'd have exposed myself too much.
Parliamo di Castel Pactileone.
Let's talk about Castle Pactileone.
Castle Sancti Leonis. It's a great building. Ancient and fascinating. Unfortunately, for a while now, the Marquis has stopped issuing permits to visit it, which is strange, because until a few months ago, he was more than happy to show off his family's holdings.
Have you ever tried asking for a permit?
No, but it seems he's particularly reluctant to grant them.
Stammi bene, Gaia. Vediamo, quindi dovremmo noleggiare libri? Boh.
Father Carlo?
Mo ti sei impicciato,
Yes?
mo mi dici qualcosa. Lei ha una tessera della biblioteca?
Have you got a library card?
Sure. Here, go ahead and take it.
But are you giving it to me without even asking for it?
Isn't it written, better is a dish of vegetables where love is, than a fattened ox served with hatred?
I started to ponder the parable of Father Carlo, trying to make sense of that enigmatic verse. Perhaps the man standing in front of me possessed a well-concealed wisdom?
Ma molto celato.
Okay, probably not.
Deve conoscere molti fedeli della sua
You must know
chiesa.
many of the faithful in your church.
As does any parish priest worthy of such a name.
Good. The man I'm looking for is named DeVilta. He's short, slightly overweight, wears glasses. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, of course.
Oh, perfect. Do you know his home address?
I'd really love to help, but, well...
You don't remember it.
I'm sorry. Lately my mind is distracted with the organisation of Christmas.
Christmas? It's the beginning of November.
Are you serious?
Mi dica qualcosa di Castel Santi
Tell me something
Leonini.
about
Vabbè, non
Castle
si chiama così sto
Sancti
castello.
Leonini.
I think it's Castle Facti Leonidi.
No, wait. Maybe it's Castle Sanctum Lapini.
Or Castle Fant Leprini.
Come on, you two! It's Castle Sancti Leonis.
Whatever. At least we got close. I withdraw my question.
Vabbè,
Goodbye, Father.
vabbè. Allora abbiamo la tessera di Padre Carlo. Possiamo prendere un libro?
I had to show her a card, but not Carlos. The logbook where the librarian...
Quindi forse dobbiamo fare una foto e metterci la faccetta nostra. Allora, direi che qua abbiamo visto quello che potevamo vedere. Andiamo a Castel Sancti Leonis.
Move along, move along. There's nothing to see here.
It looks like there's an ancient medieval castle, actually.
You see wrong. This is private property, not a tourist attraction. And now, move along.
Immediately got it. That dude would be a real pain in the neck.
Auto elegante.
A huge fancy car occupied part of the esplanade. I guessed it belonged to the person responsible for the structure, Walter Beringler.
Lo stemma.
The coat of arms depicted a winged lion with the halo.
Sancti Leonis.
Sancta Leonis.
Guardia scontrosa.
He wouldn't have let me in without a signed permit. He wouldn't have let me in.
Forse San Leo.
It was Father Carlo's library card. He looked smarter in the photo.
Allora, noi ci abbiamo la foto qua. Possiamo fare
I could
questa
use the
cosa?
photo for my badge to modify the card. But first, I had to unglue it. Wheeler must have used a very powerful adhesive. I couldn't detach it.
Allora, per incollarlo poi usiamo il chewing gum, ma per scollarlo posso usare il balsamo?
I was all out of ideas. The universal remote control for my
Sì,
original
non
pony.
rompe,
The
chi t'ha
best of the...
chiesto? Non lo so come possiamo scollarlo onestamente. Qui c'è altro di utile? No, ok. Quindi torniamo un attimo qui a vedere se c'è qualcosa che può essere utile. La fortezza, il paesaggio, ok. Luca dice qualcosa?
I had nothing else to...
No, quindi torniamo un attimo in piazza. E vediamo se il barista ci può aiutare in qualche modo.
I had nothing else to ask him.
No, la guida turistica.
I didn't want to bother him any longer.
Non vuole disturbarlo. Il marchese non ci parla.
I had nothing else to...
Come facciamo a scollare la tessera?
The chewing gum would be useful for gluing something onto Carlo's card, but I would think...
Eh sì, ci devi incollare questo.
Was it really worth it?
Sì, ne vale la pena, fidati.
I was all out of... In that moment... Was it really...
Non so come
Was it
scollare
really...
questo.
In that moment... Sometimes... I thought it was...
Non ne ho veramente idea. Nella pozza di benzina.
I thought it was better to look for...
No, ci avevo quasi creduto. Ma non possiamo chiamare Nicole? Rubrica Alice. Perché
I could do
Nicole?
without Ozzy's help just then.
Non serve.
Just having to talk to him, and besides, my phone calls with Wheeler lasted 20 seconds at most. Then he hung up. Anti-interception measures, he said. I no longer needed to...
No.
I wondered what my mother was doing at that precise
Me la
moment.
sentiva da
It had been
anni.
years since we last spoke. Anyway, I had a...
Deve pensare ad altro, va bene. E... boh. San Leo. Però se noi torniamo un attimo qui, negli stemmi forse c'era quello del leone, anche se non mi pare. No, è solo il leone rampante. Non era il leone quello là. Qui non ho capito questa cosa del pozzo, che c'è il vetro.
The glass was translucent and it didn't let me see.
Non mi fa capire quanto è profondo, ma se uso il
No
magneto...
matter how hard I tried.
No. No, tocca soltanto riuscire a capire come staccare questo.
It was Father Carlo's library.
Nella foto sembrava più sveglio.
A temporary permit to enter the HPD department. Photo could come in handy if I wanted to fabricate. Wheeler must have used a very powerful
Non riesce a staccarla. Allora, proviamo con questo
I thought it was.
a cercare di staccarlo.
I didn't understand. In that moment, sometimes, in that moment, one of the two keys.
No,
The
ti
other.
levi, dai, madonna mia, quanto odio sta cosa che non me lo toglie.
In that moment, no matter how hard. Fortress of
No,
San
non
Leo
so,
was huge.
oddio
It
mio,
emanated-
cioè, odio che non mi toglie l'oggetto, cliccando col destro me lo guarda dove sto cliccando. No, mi devi togliere l'oggetto, porca vacca. Sta cosa mi fa girare. Non lo so, perché in qualche modo noi dobbiamo riuscire, forse mettendolo nella fontana. Non tanto questo quanto questo.
In that moment, it didn't seem. No matter how hard I tried,
No, non si capisce.
I was all out of ideas.
Ah, direi, torniamo un secondo qua. Lei dice altro?
Bye. So to borrow.
You need a library card. Unfortunately, I have strict regulations about that. I can only issue cards to residents.
Take care, Gaia. I had nothing else to ask him.
Non avevo altro da chiedergli. E qui c'è soltanto il giornale e queste cose qua. Il telefono non
An
me lo
old
devo
style
usare
device.
neanche. E il registro l'ha detto non me lo vede, giusto?
If I wanted to read the logbook, I had to first get rid of Gaia.
Dobbiamo liberarci di Gaia. Ah,
Bye.
come ci liberiamo di Gaia?
Take care, Gaia.
Se ci liberiamo di Gaia riesco a leggere il registro.
An old style.
Non so come liberarci di Gaia, però. Oliviero, tu proprio in nessun modo ci aiuti? Siamo sicuri di questa cosa?
I had nothing else to ask.
No, a meno che posso chiamare il numero della biblioteca, ma non ce l'ho. Rubrica. No, non c'è il numero della biblioteca. Ma se lo guardiamo il telefono forse c'è?
An old style device with rotary composition.
Un po' scomodo da utilizzare,
Ads of various kinds.
però non... E chiodo, che ci facciamo col chiodo? Forse così lo stacchiamo?
I would use the nail to unstick that photo from the badge.
Ah, ok, perfetto. Allora, questo fai
The chewing
così.
gum would allow me to glue the photo, but it was dry and wouldn't come off the tire piece.
Ah, e mo? Prova sempre col chiodo.
Maybe. Or maybe not.
E se no col
Maybe.
balsamo?
Or maybe not. The chewing gum would be useful for gluing something onto Carlo's card. The photo would have never stuck to the card. It was Father Carlo's
Ok,
library.
allora proviamo a usare le chiavi con il chewing gum.
Better think about it.
No. E forse con l'attaccapanni?
Was it really worth it? It stored a
Aspetta, potremmo provare o nella fontana o la benzina.
The water from the fountain wouldn't be enough to get the chewing gum off. Something more effective was
proviamo la
needed.
benzina.
A few seconds soaking in the gas would turn the chewing gum back to its original state.
Perfetto. Quindi questo fai
The chewing
così.
gum would be useful for gluing something onto Carlo.
Ok, questo così. Però la cosa che mi chiedo, non c'è il nome, cioè non c'è scritto padre Carlo. Vabbè. Tessera della biblioteca.
Hey, Gaia, here's my card.
So you got proof of residence in the last 5 minutes. And you also managed to procure a membership card without me officially issuing it. Moreover, a new card on which you appear to be born in 1963. You don't show your age at all. Congratulations.
Well, apart from that, everything's in order, right?
I've never seen such a clumsy attempt to borrow a book. I'll turn a blind eye, just this one time. Is there something you want to consult?
I hadn't read a book for at least 6 years. And on top of that, it was the installation manual for the air conditioner. I floundered about, looking for a title that might at least sound plausible. What the government kept from us by Wilo Wee.
Wilo Wee?
Sure, the much talked about Vietnamese writer who was the best-selling smash the last few years. Don't tell me you never heard of him.
I admit I haven't. I'll have to search in the new arrivals section. It might take a while.
I'm in no hurry.
Vai,
I'll be
guarda,
back
guarda.
soon.
Vai tranquilla, cara. Daniele De Vilta. E il numero di telefono.
I'm really sorry, but there's no trace of that book.
Maybe it's too recent. Don't worry, I'll think of something else.
Ottimo, adesso abbiamo il numero di cellulare. Va bene ragazzi, dai, per oggi ci fermiamo qui e la prossima volta inizieremo il video chiamando questo maledetto. Voi come sempre mettete un mi piace, lasciate un commento, iscrivetevi al canale e vi aspetto al prossimo episodio. Alla prossima, ciao ciao!